please forgive me because these are things I think about all the time but don't put structure on it. I'm not trying to preach and I'm not trying to say this is how everyone should be, but I feel like empathy is the key to everything. It's why you're a vegan in a way, because it's a sentient creature and you're empathizing with their suffering. And humanity goes wrong when it fails to empathize. And we have a natural amount of empathy, but we need to encourage empathy, you know, and this goes all the way down. I'm obsessed by humans' ability to be empathic to a point, and people's point is different. You know, people are empathic with those people in the church in South Carolina. They're empathic to them, which is interesting because 100 years ago they might not have been because they were a different colour. So we've come that far. But under the article on the internet about that shooting, there is endless comments of that human scum needs to rot in hell. So their empathy is extended to the victims of the shooting, but not the victim who was the shooter, who is a victim because who wants to be someone who wants to shoot people? I mean, he didn't make himself.
Yep.
So my empathy extends to the shooter, which is a difficult thing to even say because, of course, I want, if one of my loved ones was in that church, it implies a lack of empathy for the victims of the shooter to say you're empathic for the shooter. But you have to go all the way down to paedophilia, all the way.
That's right.
And every time we fail to be empathic to any human, we go wrong.
Yep.
So our inability to be empathic towards paedophiles stops us having programs to help paedophiles.
Yep.
And can you imagine how many people we would be helping if we, and this stuff, I've got ideas that I won't even say because I'll get quoted out of context, but we need to deal with the fact that one of the types of sexuality you can have is this terrible, terrible urge that hurts people, and we need to help them.
Yeah, is linked to a literal malfunction in your brain.
Of course, it's all neurology, and even if it's not neurology, it's experience. You didn't make yourself. You're not the person who gave you your genes. You're not the person that gave you your experiences. If you had their genes and their experiences, you would have shot too.
That's right.
There is no soul, there is no God, there's just people who are different versions of fucked up. And we need... Where we don't empathise, we fail. I understand why we don't, because the compulsion is to vomit and punch them.
That's right. But that's your animal.
But that's your animal. And
right? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's not your highest self.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
I can't be empathic to the person who sexually assaulted a loved one of mine, hypothetically.
Yep.
But I can be empathic, and we as a culture have to be empathic to people who
aren't close to you,
do terrible things. It's our job to stop.
And that's the idea of the court.
That's the idea of...
an impartial.
And this brings us to the internet and how disgusting it is.
Please.
You know, the way we treat each other lacks empathy because we're removed and we think we're a tiny drop, but we're not. We're part of a mob.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. Like, I'm not trying to wind you up or get you on a big atheist rant. I just think it's, as I mentioned, all my friends are atheists.
Yeah.
And I love them. I delight in every thought you have. You know what I'm saying? I watched your beat poem, and it lights me up. It gets me really excited.
It's meant to be inspiring. The
It's
trouble with religion, and I know arsehole atheists and I know lovely religious people, the trouble is, by definition, in my opinion, religion requires you to block certain lines of thinking and allows you shortcuts around these difficult questions.
Which
if you believe in evil...
I have to interrupt and just say I completely agree. Keep going. If you believe in evil.
If you believe in evil, then that blocks what I've just talked about. If you believe in evil, then you can support the death penalty, without a doubt.
But you know what's so funny is, like, the more I study it, it's one of my fascinations because of how I was raised. Partially, maybe even because of my genes, who knows? I am so fascinated with it, and when you reduce it, which is all I'm about, it's one of my big passions. It's like, what is past the myths and the metaphors and the rituals and the rites and the ethics of it all? What are we getting at? And I see more and more things just pointing to things like you're saying, empathy to that person.
They are dressed up elements of humanity.
That's what I'm saying. The spiritualized way of saying what you said is to say the spirit of God, the creator, the universe, the single point that expanded into all of this is in the shooter as well.
Yeah.
And it's much more Eastern than it is Western spirituality, but it's like, I wish I could remember who I'm quoting, but it's this wonderful poem. And he's like, I'm the toad sitting on the lily. I'm also the snake sneaking up on the toad and eating it.
Yeah.
I'm both. Yeah. And when you have that intense empathy, seeing everything as one, not a God somewhere else, watching, blowing his whistle, not an easy answer, evil, the devil made him do it.
Yeah.
We're here. And when you say, isn't this enough? My mystically leaning spiritual lens goes, abso-fucking-lutely. Completely vibrating, sorry to be so hippie, with what you're saying in your way. I wouldn't change it for the world. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I just hear what you're saying being spiritually true.
There's a lot of beauty in humanism, and there's beauty in all different worldviews. The trouble is, what we want is ease. What we want is to alleviate our anxiety about being human. We want something that shortcuts. That says, that person's bad, which makes me good. I'm a vegan, therefore I'm good. I wish I was a vegan, but I'm not being critical. I'm just saying...
You're not eating meat
in
right
fact,
now.
vegan's not a great example, because vegan's actually hard work, right? I'm vegan at the moment. This had almond milk in it, because I got it from...
You are vegan?
Yeah. I'm temporarily vegan. Everyone's temporarily vegan. You're going to be dead soon.
And everyone's precancerous.
And don't worry, those bacteria will eat you, so you'll get no karma on that score. But you know, it's like...
Is that an expression, no karma?
No karma.
Like
karma.
Karma. I thought that was a...
Yeah, you people
Australian,
hear comma,
I thought you were saying, like, you won't break 1,000.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you won't get a comma on that score.
No comma.
You just made an expression.
You won't have a karmic... The microbes that eat your body won't go, oh, he was a vegan, we better leave him alone.
That's right.
It's infinitely complicated, and we are progressing slowly towards better ethics. There's absolutely no doubt humanity is going in a good direction in many places in the world, and in a terrible direction in a few of them. But, you know, it's like that death penalty. That death penalty question is really interesting to me, because I actually... There is a... I could argue for the death penalty within my empathy-driven humanist worldview, because of greater good for the greatest number. So ethics has to be about, in the upshot, the greatest good,
numbers,
the greatest good for the greatest number, which is very, very, very difficult to pass. But there is an argument within that philosophy that if you kill someone, like in some ancient tribes, or like less civilized, in inverted commas, tribal groups, if someone does something wrong, they kill them immediately. If someone hurts someone, they get put to death immediately. And it's demonstrable that the family of the people who are the victim feel better, because in their culture, that works for them.
It's what we call the sling blade phenomenon.
Yeah.
Did you see Sling Blade?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want a trial, you want a cold sweat.
Yeah.
That movie is so deeply appealing to exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is you want a simple, impartial man to come in with a lawnmower blade and just solve it.
And so there might be a version of a society where to kill a person who kills makes the victim's family feel better, and guards society from further crimes by that person.
And potentially people hear that he was killed and they don't do it because they don't want to die.
And we don't spend a whole lot of money keeping the person in a jail. So you could argue for it. As it happens, it doesn't work. It makes all of us worse. It doesn't make the victim's family feel better. It doesn't make society feel wholer or safer, or it doesn't work. Killing people doesn't work. I just mean it theoretically could. I have no firm goalpost. It's an exploration. Ethics, humanity, being good in the world is an exploration. My kids will think I'm bigoted about something. I don't know what it is, because I'm pretty freaking liberal, and I might be wrong. Maybe they'll think I'm too liberal and be bigots.
Right.
but probably my kids there'll be something where I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it will be.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly willing to accept that I'm just on a line. I'm on a journey with the rest of society to try and figure out how to be.